We continue our knowledge sharing mission through a series of interviews with marketing leaders from all over the world, and are thrilled to have Vsevolod with us today. So Vsevolod, who are you, and can you tell us a bit about your journey and what sparked your interest in marketing?
Yeah, hello everyone and welcome to CMO Chat. I'm a CMO of global markets at Flowwow. We are a gifting marketplace and working already in 40 plus countries, so such as UK, UAE, Spain, Poland, etc. And I'm actually responsible for all marketing activities throughout these countries. And my work is typically about planning, strategy, budgeting, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm just managing global marketing at this company. So
Great, thanks for that. And what does your company do?
actually, we are a gifting marketplace. So if you need to have a gift from for someone, or just order something like cake, flower, mainly flower, but actually gift boxes and anything you can give as a gift to someone you love, or I don't know, for someone. So yeah, we are gifting marketplace. So as I said already, we are like working in 40 plus countries already. So we kind of worldwide business, and we have a easy scalable business model, like comparatively. So yeah.
Sounds great. Thanks for that. And as the CMO in Flowwow, what is currently your main marketing focus?
I would say right now, I'm trying to enhance our analytical capabilities through building better dashboards, like going mainly on focus with cohorted performance and media mix marketing. So yeah, media mix modeling. But I would say always in focus in our case is just our strategy for our main groups, for our main sellers and clients, and we are always between these main strategies like B2B and B2C. So for customers, it's very important to personalize ads, personalize experience as many as possible. And just for sellers, empowering local sellers in every country where we work. And again, for clients, we also use occasion-based marketing, and we adapt it for local traditions. Like for example, if we're talking about local holidays like Eid in the UAE or Mother's Day all over the world. But at the same time, for sellers, we need to help them to deliver this, to our clients, our end clients. I would say our unified brand voice and our unified marketing strategy is something that, of course, always in focus.
Sounds great. Thank you for that. Now, moving to the next question, can you maybe tell me about a particularly innovative or successful marketing campaign that your team has recently executed?
Yeah, that's a great question, and a bit tough because, they are all like children. So kind of like this. So for me, the interesting fact actually that performance campaign, they actually gain you the revenues, and they gain you, especially when you have so much organic level like our team, like our company. So we kind of need to do everything from the start in marketing in every new market, usually. All in all, I think the campaigns that remembered most, even by myself, is branding and branding oriented. So we promote every local holidays in the countries that are in our mainly focus. So, for example, on Valentine's Day, we did this campaign with kind of extra, and it was very, very much romantically, just very, very good stuff, and emotional SMM things. So, for example, we had this campaign where women was like in dress of roses, for example. So it was very excited. So it's just things that people remember, and then it's the stories, and it's the stories that we like to tell, and to remember this by themselves, but ourselves. So, and as a result, we have good times revenues. Yes, so like we have a good growth.
Yeah, that's very interesting to hear. And it's always very different when your campaign really resonates, with the audience and with the people. And it really sticks, right? It really sticks.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's great. So we talked about, successful campaigns. Now we want to talk about challenges, right?
Uh-huh.
So I guess with that, I want to learn more about what were your biggest marketing challenges, or I think that you're currently dealing with at the moment.
Well, I would say our main challenge as a worldwide company is always about being cultural relevant, to all the people all over the world, because countries are different, and the ways that we use marketing in them is a bit different. So we kind of need to always be the same and be consistent on the first side, but on the flip side, we need to be focused on traditions and traditional holidays, and how people actually, just depending on people actions on these holidays, and just on usual days, for example. So for us, it's, for example, we can talk about UAE and Spain. In Spain, people tend to be more traditional, conservative approach to buying gifts. And the marketing is like this too, because this is mostly contextual advertising on website, because it's not an app first country at all. So, and in UAE, it's completely different dynamic and different market. It's like app first, it's digital oriented. So people like make fast decisions, and they tend to love like big gestures in gifting. For example, like for Valentine's Day, we have a lot of orders with, believe it or not, 1,001 roses. So it's kind of, and it happens a lot in UAE. So for us, it's just very, very important to like managing expectations of people. And I'm not talking about only traditions, but building overall trust to gifting in every country. Like, because people tend to value, visual honesty, like clear descriptions, and they like when the photo looks like the real thing. And in marketing, we use it because actually what we found out that our campaigns, when we show the product itself, like just for example, it's just a feed from Facebook ads, or I don't know, Google ads, Google Shopping. So, and it works sometimes better, just better than some 3D or AI generated content, but just because it's real thing and people love it. So that's managing expectations.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think it's also very interesting to see a lot of the nuances per culture, right? You really see the differentiation. What may work for the UAE, for example, like what you mentioned, may not work exactly as compared to Spain or in other regions across the world.
Mhm.
So that's a very interesting approach. And so that brings us to the next question. How does your company stay ahead of its competitors in terms of marketing?
Yeah, that's a good one. In our company, our main, why we can be ahead of our competitors is the ability to fast testing every hypothesis, because we are not so structural and not so organizational, approach. So we can test fast, and we can try everything, like than we see in marketing, or just invent by ourselves. So, and again, like I've already said, we have an easy scalable model. So if we can see from the start that this market is not working for us, we can change, and we can go like to another country, because it's only an app, so so that we need. And I would say what helps even more is our brand performance approach to business, actually, not only to marketing, because the main thing here is uniting brand and performance marketing in a way that it works more effectively, because we always focusing on sustainable growth, like long-term growth, because performance campaign, yes, they can they can give you a hikes of revenue sometimes, or especially if it is with occasion-based pricing or something like this. But branding and brand performance approach is more about building a long-term relationship with your client, and it works better. It's like in the end, all these investments and all all these things, they play enormous role Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Thanks for that. And so that also brings us into the next question. What do you believe is the biggest opportunity for CMOs today that might not have been available in the past?
Well, that's interesting one. That's very
It is.
interesting. I would say, answering this question, it's important to note that it very much depends on what you mean in the past, by in the past. Because if we are talking, for example, like nowadays versus 60 years ago, for example, 50 years ago, it's, of course, we have more data, and of course we have more digital approaches. We have a lot of, like, easy decision making tools, for example, or just instruments for advertising. But if we comparing it, for example, like with 5 years ago, there were a lot of data back then, and maybe even more accessible, because in our new world, like cookieless and iOS 14 plus, and then after it worked, we kind of, I actually feel that we kind of returning to this 60s a bit. It's like a retro effect. Works like, sometimes it feels like you need not only, for example, like 5 years ago, you can narrow your audience, like for exact audience, and just launch campaign on Facebook. But now it's also broadens by Meta, for example, and it actually, all your campaign is, it should be, that's why I talked about brand formats, like on previous question, because actually the audience now is broadened. So you need to have a good advertising, like you need to have an excellent quality and very like beautiful advertising, like filming, like, or even if we are talking about UGC, for example, like they tend to be more real approach, but more creative and sometimes even cinematic, So a lot of experimental things going on. So sometimes I feel even like we are like this Mad Men show, Mad Men TV show, like in 60s. Yeah, like literally it feels like that, because we have our goals and we trying to achieve it, and we cannot always believe data, we need to trust data that we have, but we need to build it from the start.
Yeah. And I think that's also something that we've been seeing, right? With the rise of AI, especially nowadays, this isn't really something that was available, 60 years ago, right? And I completely agree with us turning back into the Mad Men type of mentality. I also love that show, by the way. So yeah, absolutely, absolutely agree. Okay. So the next question is, I guess this is more coming from your opinion, right? What does the future of marketing look like?
Okay, yeah, I'm not a good forecaster, but usually, and actually, I think many people not good for forecasters, especially if we're talking about this, constantly changing world, and especially in digital marketing. But what I wanted to say, we are in Flowwow. We always focused more on what's not changing, because trends come and go, but empathy is forever. And so empathy, love, happiness from just gifting, it's always will have more strength to it, more effectiveness to it, even for advertising on the future. But of course, we will use a lot of this, and we use already like a lot of this new things, like AI-generated content, like AI-driven personalization. And I also big believer in this explosion of social commerce right now, because I have a career. I had a career mostly on e-commerce, so I know how it works. So I really think that it's still a bit underrated channel even, and especially if we are talking about social sell, because now I think it's maybe even like it's getting more important to have right keywords on your social page, so just to do more effective organically, not only by like paid its channels. And then also rise of AI assistants. Actually, recently, ChatGPT launched the ad placements in ChatGPT. So, let's see where is it going? Yeah. So it's exciting.
It is really exciting. And I also wanted to quote what you said earlier, right? Trends come and go, but empathy is forever. And I think something that we also resonate a lot with, being in the event sphere, this is really something that will really be forever, right? In terms of what will happen in terms of the industry. But now that brings us into the next question. So, in your opinion, what is the role of CMO in one word and why?
Coordinator. Yeah, because you need to unite both branding, analytical things, product things, performance, and then incline it to one approach that calls like marketing strategy. So and actually marketing. So yeah, I think you need to coordinate this. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's very accurate in terms of what the role of, the marketing leader is nowadays. And so with that, what's a piece of traditional leadership advice that maybe you believe doesn't really apply to modern CMOs?
Mhm. I would say what comes to mind like instantly is like more people like equals more result. Because again, because of this AI assistant world. So yeah, and no, it no longer holds, I think, because I have very small like team of performance colleagues. So for example, but our performance is not like way larger than the team. So we have kind of a lot of reach and a lot of campaigns. Just it works because like a lot of things could be automated these days. So I think it's more about like how people work, but not like how many people. And so actually things like emotional intelligence, like psychology of just talking with your colleagues and teammates and your team, I think it's more important nowadays even because in this age of where we talk not only with each other but with AI assistants too. So I think it's more important to look on your team like on just not only just professionals but and resources like but as people, like as human beings with the with thoughts, with feelings and something like that. So I think one-on-ones is very important. And you should be a mentor. You should be emotional balanced mentor, I think. And so this leads you to sustainable performance with your marketing strategy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're just all humans, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, that brings us into the last question. What career advice would you like to share with other marketing leaders?
Oh, okay. Advice. If we are talking career advices, let's give it three advice, main advices. The first and foremost, just do hard things. I mean, literally, it tells everything because life starts when comfort zone ends. So you need to work in discomfort zone. So actually, to explain it better, just type in YouTube, do hard things, because it actually works for a lot of people. This video, yeah, it's definitely explains this idea, why you need to do such things. It's not just about career, it's in everything in life. So yeah, you grow only when you do hard things. The second one is contrarian to the first one because I think that's in our age, making hard decisions, making like a bit, nervous ones sometimes, and just doing it very fast and rapidly, constantly. So I think it's very important to be doubtful, question every data, test more times that like as more times as you can, and validate all your data before acting, because literally especially with all these limitations of data that we have right now, it's the most important thing is just to be doubtful. Yeah, really, with every decision, like don't believe the data as it is. So the third one, I'm not good at it too, actually, but please protect your work-life balance because literally great ideas sometimes they comes not from working life. I mean, they comes outside of the laptop. Be close to your loved ones. Always try to make your loved ones happy. Order them the gift, not necessarily from Flowwow, but yeah. But actually, we have a promo code for this podcast specifically if you're listening right now. So CMO 30, and you can have 30% on all orders. Like you can, but again, just be close to your loved ones.
That's absolutely amazing. And that comes to the end. That brings us to the end of the questions. Really, thank you so much for that. Very wonderful. You've answered it all perfectly.